This time we're looking at regulations. I did mention in the last class that with a lot of promotions that we're doing, there are rules and regulations. Now, obviously, the problem with this is it's a massive theme, and mostly because of the rules and regulations for all of the different kind of promotional techniques that are vast, and they're different for either every country, every region. There are some similarities throughout the EU, but even so, there are differences within the EU. There's differences in the United States, and outside of those, there are differences as well. So the regulations I'm going to be giving are sort of more general regulations, either in the EU, but if they are from some other countries, I will be specifically mention those. But it's really designed to open up your eyes to the fact that there are lots of rules and regulations that can land you in serious trouble if you're not careful. And companies have got them either wrong in many respects and resulted in big fines by governments. So I would always recommend that if there is any doubt in your mind of the kind of things you're doing, specifically if you're doing any kind of sweepstakes or anything, because gambling laws can be very tricky in certain countries, as we're aware of, is check out with your local either business bureau or authority or government agency to find out exactly what the rules are and what you can do. But we're going to have a general look at some of them. Some of the more important ones now, these are more based in the UK. So again, they're specific to there, but they are, a lot of these are fairly common, certainly throughout the British Commonwealth and what's of that, and certainly in the EU as well. So we're going to be looking at the Sale of Goods Act, Trade Descriptions Act, Consumer Protections Act, Ofcom, their role and function, and Advertising Standards Authority. So, and a few other things as well that are specific to particular kinds of promotions that you should at least be aware of, that it's worth looking into, and to find out specific regulation depending on where you are going to be doing them. Sale of Goods Act from 1930, sounds like an awfully long time ago, was an act to define and amend the law relating to the sale of goods and the agreement to sell. So it's things like the contract is a sale of goods is a contract whereby the seller transfers or agrees to transfer the property of goods to the buyer for a price. Seems very logical. Now, there may be a contract of sale between one part and the other. So a contract of sale may be absolute or conditional. In other words, you buy the thing and it's yours, or it's conditional on it achieving certain things. In other words, a form of guarantees, if you like. Where under a contract of sale of the property and goods, it's transferred from the seller to the buyer. So that contract is called a sale. But where the transfer of the property of the goods takes place at a future time, or subject to some conditions thereafter being fulfilled, the contract is called an agreement to sell. Now, an agreement to sell becomes a sale when the time elapses for the conditions are met for the goods to be transferred to the other person. Trade Descriptions Act, say exactly what it sounds like. It's the Act of Parliament of the UK which prevents manufacturers, retailers or service industry providers from misleading consumers as to what it is that they're buying. So the law empowers the judiciary to punish companies or individuals who make false claims about the product or services that they sell. Applying a false trade description to goods is a strict liability offence, provided you show the description was applied and was false. So the accused has to prove certain defences in order to escape conviction. False description as to services require more normal proof of mens rea, guilty intent. In other words, they intended to confuse people. Now, all this, it sounds very obvious. It's amazing how much is done, and I'll give you an old example and then maybe a more up-to-date example so that you can have some idea of what we're dealing with. I remember watching, there was a famous program called Top Gear where they try various types of vehicles. And they were reading some publicity from a couple of old cars that were quite famous, and Aston Martin, the E-Type Jaguar from the 1960s. And according to the publicity, that they said that they had a particular brake horsepower and were able to do, I think, 160 miles an hour, something of that nature, which at the time, certainly in the 1960s, was incredibly fast. And obviously it was designed with the sole intention of getting people to believe that these particular cars were very fast, and that's one of the main reasons why people bought them, that they're driving a car that can do 160 miles an hour, which in that time was incredibly fast. And they actually asked, but they've got the cars now, which we're aware that they're old, but they tried to sort of, they brought them up to date, and they still couldn't get any of the cars now, even with the new technology, to go that fast. So they asked people who actually worked in the company back in the 1960s, predating the Trade Descriptions Act, by the way, prior to 1968. And they said, how did you get these cars to go that fast, as described on your brochures? And the answer came back from the former executives, now retired, and they said, we lied. In other words, well, that was it. They lied. They did not tell the truth. They were telling the consumers that buy this car, it will do 160 miles an hour, knowing that it wouldn't do. Maybe the speedometer was reading that, but it wasn't actually doing that particular speed. In other words, it was false description of a service. Literally, if they took it, so I had it registered with a speed gun or whatever, it would never do the speed they claimed it to do. Now, that may seem quite obvious, but then we have newer products, and a good case of that was the Danone yogurt. And I do sort of talk quite a bit about this because it's a very specific example, and it's a very good example for this. That the main reason, certainly when I was younger, why we would buy yogurts, it was just a different alternative to cereal in the morning, and that was it, really. However, now it's basically sold. The idea of why you should buy this is to reduce your cholesterol by up to 20%. And apparently, if you actually read the real requirements for it to be able to do that, you have to drink something like 8 Danone yogurts a day, and you have to have certain other restrictions as well. In other words, they are basically making a false promise to people that it will do a particular thing, which it won't. And in certain parts of the world, certainly in the UK, that Danone is no longer allowed to say that phrase in their advertising. For some reason, here in Spain, it's still used. But certainly maybe the Trade Descriptions Act in the UK is still more strict than maybe the equivalent in the rest of Europe. But it does go to show these are things that are in place for the safety, if you like, or the benefit of the consumer, so that we're not just saying anything we like, of being it true or not true, just so that we can sell more product. Now, I know that in this particular course, we're looking at sales promotions, but the similar thing, if we're claiming that something is discounted, is it really? I know for a fact that my wife has recently been out to the stores to buy things for Christmas, because we're recording this in December. So even though you're seeing this in January, it's pre-Christmas at the moment here and now. As they're saying on a particular product that it's 30 or 40% off. But as far as she can remember, it was never 40% more expensive previously to the particular offer that they have now. However, again, legally speaking, if it's in a chain of stores, it has to have been available at the price that they're claiming, but only in one store anywhere in the chain for a minimum of 30 days. So maybe in some particular store somewhere that has been sold at the reduced price or the full price that they're claiming here, but only in one store for 30 days in the last 12 months. In other words, it goes to show there are ways of finding out what the law is, complying with the law, but still, let's say, slightly misleading the consumer. But that's more of a question of ethics rather than the law. What we're concentrating today on is how the law affects you, what you have to be looking at when dealing with the law for sales promotions. The Consumer Protection Act, well, this protects the public by prohibiting the manufacture and supply of unsafe goods, making the manufacturer or seller of a defective product responsible for the damage it causes, allowing local councils to seize unsafe goods and suspend the sale of suspected unsafe goods, and also prohibiting misleading price indications. Some of those things that I was just mentioning as well. Ofcom, a regulatory authority for the communication service. So this is to make sure that people get the best from their broadband, home phone, mobile services, as well as keeping an eye on television and radio. They also oversee the Universal Postal Service, which means the Royal Mail, which is the system that we use in the UK, must deliver and collect letters 6 days a week and parcels 5 days a week at an affordable and uniform price throughout the UK, which obviously totally different than companies like FedEx, etc., which obviously are considerably more expensive. They also look after the airways used by wireless devices, so phones, walkie-talkies, even car keys and doorbells, to make sure they don't get scammed and they're protected from bad practices. So this is particularly important for more vulnerable, sick or older people, and their duties come directly from the British Parliament. The Advertising Standards Authority, the ASA, they're the self-regulatory organisation of the advertising industry in the UK. They are non-statutory an organisation, so cannot interpret or enforce legislation, which is interesting if you consider it. It's basically saying that they have no particular sort of teeth to be able to lock anybody up. However, its code of practices, of advertising practices, reflects legislation in many instances. In other words, they do reflect some of the laws that do exist. So it's not funded by the British government, but by a levy on the advertising industry. So its role is to regulate the content of advertisements, sales promotion, and direct marketing in the UK by investigating complaints made about ads, sales promotions, or direct marketing, and deciding whether such advertising complies with its country's advertising codes. So they're not really in a position to fine anyone, but they can. It's generally, if something is compliant with that, it's an extra bonus that it does. But it is basically to chase up advertising. In other words, inform companies that they are doing something wrong, if that is the case. So these codes stipulate that before distributing or submitting a marketing communication for publication, marketers must hold documentary evidence to prove all claims, whether direct or implied, that are capable of objective substantiation, and that no marketing communication should mislead or be likely to mislead by inaccuracy, ambiguity, exaggeration, omission, or otherwise. And the agency also has restricted ads featuring scantily clad women. Now, going back to this, just as an example, I have used this point before in other courses, so excuse the repetition if you've heard it before, and it's the famous Head and Shoulders case. Head and Shoulders claimed, well, it's when we're talking about they can prove things and then the inaccuracy, ambiguity, or omission, and this is the part, I suppose, it's the omission. In other words, they were claiming that their product contained vitamin C in their shampoo, which is true. In other words, any kind of ingestion of some kind of, if you put into the product, squeeze some orange juice in there, by its necessity of that, it will have vitamin C in there. So not a lie. In other words, very accurate. And as we know, and this was stated on the advert, as we know, vitamin C is very good for us as people, for strong bones and strong hair. Also true. However, they had put the two together in their advertising, that by implying that because they had vitamin C within their product, vitamin C is good for hair and bones and strong hair, that their shampoo would provide you with strong hair. However, they omitted something, and the thing that they omitted, or in whether they were misleading, was the only way that vitamin C actually helps bones and hair become strong is if it's introduced via the bloodstream. Yes, in other words, for it to do that, the only way you would actually effectively get the vitamin C into your hair to make it stronger would be to drink the shampoo. Please don't drink Head and Shoulder shampoo. It doesn't taste very nice, but that would be the only way it would really work. So clearly they were misleading people by omission, by failing to state that if you just put vitamin C on your hair and then wash it off, it does not make your hair any stronger. So it's just as an idea so that you can understand why these particular kind of things are in place and what they are there to do. And I'm sure we're aware in many cases that many products, services, companies, etc. are trying to mislead us to buy things. Obviously, in terms of marketing as a whole, there's so many new products out now that they're claiming that you cannot live without these products. Of course we can. We didn't have them 20, 30 years ago, and people didn't die because of the lack of them. So in most cases, we don't really need these products, but they have to try and convince us that we need them. In the case of reducing the cholesterol from Danone yogurt. Right, the remit for the ASA in terms of sales promotion. So the Institute of Sales Promotion, working to the same code as the ASA does, can refer complaints to the ASA when it believes that there has been a breach of rules on sales promotion rules. Though there has been no clear definition, unfortunately, of what a sales promotion is for the purpose of the code. But examples include these: buy one, get one free, bog off. 25% extra free offers, in other words, 25% more. Discounted purchase offers, loyalty reward schemes like air miles that we've had with airlines, scratch cards, lotteries, prize draws, etc. So not all offers that give the consumer something free for a particular purchase may be considered a sales promotion. For example, a mobile phone deal that offers a free Bluetooth may be considered part of the package rather than a particular promotion as a separate sales promotion, which it is. If you think about it, it's a particular thing that comes with the phone. So it's not something that is given as an extra. Maybe something that would be given extra for that, maybe one of the speakers that you can connect the phone to. In other words, it's not that that's required to operate the original machine. So the ASA begins an investigation by contacting the advertiser for its views on the advertisements and, where appropriate, substantiation of claims made in it. In other words, asking them that said 8 out of 10 something consumers did this, they need to see those figures to prove where it was done. I suppose one of the ones I find the most amusing was the cat food, where it was 9 out of 10 cat owners said their cats preferred it. I always find it amusing that they are now sort of cat psychologists, that they know what their cat prefers. Maybe they've asked the cat and it's told them quite clearly, pouring away the cat food it didn't like. I don't know. But the point is they have to substantiate the claims that they're making. So the ASA may, on occasion, seek advice from industry experts on more complex issues. In other words, the question of, say, maybe the Danone, how many yogurts a day do you actually need to ingest before you can reduce your cholesterol by 20%? Once the investigation is complete, draft recommendation is sent to both the advertiser and the complainant, in other words, the person that made the complaint, for any comments, with a request to keep this confidential until publication of the final report. The draft recommendation is then submitted to the Independent Advertising Standards Authority Council, which adjudicates on the ASA investigation. They then discuss the complaint and the draft recommendation, vote whether or not to uphold the complaint or not. The adjudication is then posted on their website and made available to the press and to the public. So at least there's something somewhere that if someone has complained, there is a record of it for other people to see. So let's have a look at sort of a legal checklist before we actually start doing a sales promotion. So this really is designed that if you decide you're going to do a particular sales promotion, what is it that you need to be checking out before? In other words, is it legal or not? So it sets out different types of sales promotion that your business may wish to use to promote its goods or service. So first off, what is a sales promotion? It's a marketing device, for example, a competition or prize draw, designed to encourage the purchase of a product or services. Now, there are laws and voluntary codes that govern most sales promotion, so you should take legal advice before holding any type of sales promotion. Failure to comply could result in your business having to withdraw the campaign, being fined, suffering adverse publicity, or facing possible criminal prosecution. Now, if that's not a good enough reason, or good enough reasons for very good reasons, then nothing is. It shows that really how important it is that we check out these things beforehand. During this course, we're going to be talking a lot about different promotions and what there is that you can offer. But check out the legalities first. What is it that you're exactly allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say? What you can claim and what you can't claim beforehand. If it's already done and it's too late. Competitions. So promoting a product by running a competition with exclusive prizes is a common way of promoting a new product or of boosting sales for an existing one. However, unless the competition stays inside a particular set of rules for a type of competition known as a sales promotion, the competition could amount to illegal gambling. Now, we're aware that in certain countries gambling is legal, but normally with a license. In other words, if you don't have a gambling license, it is illegal. So if participation in a competition is made dependent on the payment of a contribution, then success must depend to a substantial degree on the exercise of skill. So it shouldn't merely consist of guessing the outcome of a race or competition, or guessing whether or not something will happen or is true, as these kind of promotions can create legal problems. A sales promotion is defined as a form of gambling that does not involve a gaming machine and is used by the creator, distributor, or vendor of the goods and services to promote the sale of the same goods and services. A sales promotion must have the following components. A participant enters in the draw by purchasing goods or services promoted at its usual retail price, and no other direct or indirect payment or value are required from the participant to enter. In other words, you don't have to pay anything extra to go into it. It's not as if you're going into a particular gambling, it's just because you're buying a product. The outcome of the sales promotion is determined either randomly or wholly by chance, or partly by chance and partly by the application of some knowledge or skill from the participant. So it doesn't matter whether chance plays a greater or lesser part. And the date and period of the sales promotion and how the outcome from the promotion will be decided are all clearly communicated. In other words, normally they would use something of a particular, something that is well known, where there are other prizes given, like a national lottery number, that whatever the last three numbers are there in the national lottery, they're the ones that are applied here. In other words, people can check from an outside authority, outside of your company, what the winning number is and to see if they have it or not. So a critical element is that there must be no extra payment to enter. That means just buying the product or service is enough. If a competition or promotion doesn't fit within these criteria, it's likely to be considered as an illegal gambling activity or other type of gambling where a license is probably required. Now, we have things called prize draws. That's a scheme in which prizes are allocated by chance, but there is no entry charge. In other words, you don't have to pay to go in. In Great Britain, your business would be allowed to require a purchase as a condition of entry, but the price of the product cannot be inflated to cover the cost of the promotion. Otherwise, the draw will be deemed a lottery, and lotteries require lots of licenses. So the rules are different and stricter for draws carried out in Northern Ireland. With a few exceptions, for example, the National Lottery, running a lottery requires licenses and compliance with various laws. Your business can restrict entry to individuals who accept certain conditions, for example, giving personal information. Right, if the draw is open to all, the chance of success must be the same for everyone, regardless of how they entered and how the allocation was done, and it must be by chance. So as we've got an example here, win a new iPad. So it's not specifically money, but it's still a chance. In other words, 10 new iPads, and it's got the date of when it is. Fill out the form to enter the contest. No purchase necessary. But again, not only no purchase necessary, no money to change hands, because otherwise it then becomes a raffle or a gambling lottery, and therefore requires a license. And it here quite clearly states no purchase necessary. In other words, it's free to enter. But what are they getting out of it? Well, you have to fill out a form. So there it is. They're giving away 10 iPads. If you consider an iPad to be, I don't know, this was some time ago, but if it €1,000, so the cost of this is €10,000. For €10,000, what are we getting? We're getting all these forms filled in, which may be potential customers. So we're getting lots of information about where they are, what it is they're operating. Maybe they have a computer. Do they use iPads? Do they want one? Do they use or tablets? What particular brand are they using now? There may be lots of things to fill out, but there's no money is changing hands. Sweepstake, promotional scheme, which prizes are given to winners selected only by chance, in other words, purely at random from the entries received. In other words, ones that we've just seen. We have hundreds of thousands come in and they will pick a particular number, either in public or you have to inform them beforehand how the numbers are picked, or it may be based on the numbers from a lottery or something that is publicly printed. So they do not require a purchase consideration, otherwise they would become a lottery, which requires a license to operate. If you're an online merchant, you should consider adding sweepstakes to your marketing mix. They're an effective marketing channel to help grow your business, generate more leads, promote your brand, and increase sales. Specifically, get more leads of people. It's a way of finding a lot of information about people because they're more happy to fill out the information if they know they're getting something from it. And after all, if you are giving out a free iPhone or something of that nature, but you're getting 1,000 or 2,000 pieces of information, it's worth it for that. You're getting 2,000 leads that maybe you can convert a certain amount into sales. So a sweepstake is easy and affordable to run, and when done correctly, their benefits are far greater than any other marketing methods. For a single promotion, you get more email subscribers, new customers, a boost in sales, increasing followers on platforms like Facebook, etc., and greater brand exposure and awareness. So here we have another one from Roman Meal. So $2,500 cash prize. So participants in an instant win draw should be able to get their prize immediately. Why? Because it's that, an instant win, or know that they have won and how to claim their prize without delay, cost, or hassle. In other words, without any additional cost for them to incur. So it should not offer a prize promotion without awarding the prize described or a reasonable equivalent. Do not create a false impression that a consumer has already won a prize if there is no prize or the consumer has to incur a cost to claim the prize, as this is a criminal offence. And we've seen quite a lot of these where literally that people are told, oh, you are already won and all you need to do is do the following. And then they find that there's a whole host of things that they have to do, and maybe some of the things that they have to do in order to be able to get the prize is to affiliate for various courses or programs or buy products, etc. They can actually finish up costing far more over a period of time than the actual cost of the product. If you have to sign up for some house and car insurance for a couple of €100 a month just so that you can win a cell phone that's 500 or 600 a month, it's clearly not a fair situation. Right, once the price is clear, you need to decide on the format of the promotion, how it's going to benefit your business, and how the winner will be decided. Now, there are many options here. You may decide the promotion is an excellent PR opportunity and that's enough for you. In other words, just publishing that. However, you could go a step further. You could use the promotion to actually sell products or build your marketing database. If you do this, though, you need to be careful. You cannot ask people to pay to enter and then choose the winner at random on your product. Otherwise, it will be classed as a lottery. Without a license to run the lottery, your promotion will be considered illegal and you will be committing a criminal offence. So, running a promotional prize draw. Putting lotteries aside, you have two options. One, you can have a freeze prize draw where entry is free and the winner is chosen at random. You could run a prize competition where the winner must exercise a significant amount of skill, knowledge, or judgment. We'll talk about that. Done well, either of these can give a boost to sales you're looking for, but not, excuse me, but you're not home free yet. So for your promotion to be a genuine prize draw, it must be open to everyone and everyone must have the chance of winning. How's it going to benefit you? If someone who isn't a potential customer wins, in other words, someone who maybe isn't going to be buying something and they win. Although the prize draw must be free to enter, you're well within your rights to have a say, a special promotional product which people must buy to enter the draw. Then only someone who has purchased a product will win. However, you mustn't increase the price of the product to cover the cost of the prize, or that could be considered paying to enter, and then your promotion is an illegal lottery. It's perfectly acceptable to ask for someone's personal details as a condition of entry to build your marketing database. If they're not interested in your product or service, they're unlikely to want to give you any information about that, and the winner will either be a customer or a prospect. If you do ask for personal details, you must comply with the Data Protection Act, and we've seen this has just changed recently now that there's how long you can keep the information, what information, how you must inform people of what you're doing with the information that you're keeping. So this means that you're going to use their detail for marketing purpose and they must be notified of this upfront. If the promotional prize draw is open to people in Northern Ireland, there must be a no purchase necessary way to enter. In other parts of the UK, this isn't strictly necessary, but people often include this provision just to be sure they don't fall foul of the lottery rules. So if you decide to run a competition, entrants must demonstrate sufficient skill, knowledge, or judgment to be in with a chance of winning. if it's hard to give a definition of what sufficient means, but generally the question must not be so obvious that everyone can easily give the correct answer. Once sufficient skill, knowledge, or judgment has been demonstrated, if more than one person gets the answer correct, you can draw the winner at random from all of the correct entries. Guessing the outcome of, for example, a sports event is not considered a skill. There are special types of competition known as prediction competitions. If you run a prediction competition, such as a fantasy football competition, you have to comply with additional betting and gambling regulations to stay on the right side of the law. We'll now look at how to administer a prize draw. Finally, the promotion prize must be properly administered. This means you must give clear information about the competition, how to enter, how the winner will be decided, and much more. The best way to do this is have clear terms and conditions and rules of entry. Some of the key provisions to include are the full name and address of the promoter, the person promoting the actual prize. Any restrictions on who can enter, for example, they must be over 18s only, or one per household, or must not be an employee of the promoter. The closing date by which entries must be received. How the winner is decided, either through the national lottery numbers or something else. Whether the winner will be required to participate in any post-event publicity, such as turning up to be presented with the product or the check or something, so that you can use it for public relations uses. Also, you'll want to protect yourself in case of unforeseen events. So, for example, you may reserve the right to offer an alternative prize or amend the rules of the competition if it's necessary. Maybe something would happen. In other words, maybe you don't get enough entries, that if a particular number is not reached, you will offer a lower expensive or less expensive prize. Now, just to show that sometimes other companies, well-known companies, do get these things wrong from time to time. In 1992, Hoover, the Hoover manufacturer, the vacuum cleaner manufacturer, ran a promotion offering 2 free return flights to anyone who spent more than £100 on one of their products. So anyone who spent more than £300 received an additional £60 voucher to be used on car hire or accommodation. Now, Hoover estimated that around 5,000 consumers would redeem the offer, but in the end, over 200,000 took it up. Now, this may seem like a huge success, because far more people bought products than expected, but that wasn't the case. People were buying new products just to get the free flights, and Hoover struggled to keep up with demand. This resulted in an enormous number of customer complaints, public relations nightmare, and even legal activities by the time everything was settled. It's estimated the promotion cost Hoover more than £48 million in the end. In other words, it became overly successful. The prize being offered must not be prohibited under the Act. Sounds logical, but it is illegal to offer the following as prizes for a sales promotion: firearms or explosives. Obviously, this is certainly in the UK, probably in the United States. That's not maybe legal or acceptable. I'll be honest, I don't know. Restricted weapons or air guns, any form of liquor and alcohol, tobacco products, commercial sexual services. So, and any voucher or entitlement to any of these products or services are also banned under that. For example, if winning the sales promotion entitles the winner to award points, coupons, or vouchers, which can be used to acquire a list of products that includes any of those items, the scheme will not come within the lawful sales promotion scheme and may be illegal. So in other words, 20% off getting some tobacco products. Right, again, people now, certainly with either EU or operating online, sales promotions must not be conducted from overseas or through remote interactive devices. So under the Act, an overseas-based gambling activity, which includes a sales promotion, cannot be advertised or promoted in the EU if it's done with outside the EU. This means that any overseas businesses wanting to advertise its sales promotion need to ensure the actual activity, the prize draw for example, takes place in the EU and is carried out by an EU-based operator. So the Act prevents any sales promotion schemes from being conducted via the internet, phone or text messaging unless it takes the form of a lottery or is approved by the Lotteries Commission and the Racing Board. Now, this does not prevent individuals from participating in sales promotion coming from overseas. Like the Advertising Standards Authority Code of Practice, they're a set of voluntary, self-regulated codes which all advertisers agree to comply with. So advertisements should, 1, comply with the restrictions on the sale of various gaming products, and particularly age restrictions, and observe a high standard of social responsibility. So it must not be directed at minors, in other words, people under 18 years of age. Have strong or evident appeal to minors, nor portray minors participating in activities in which they are under the legal age. So note, retailers should keep in mind that under UK and EU laws, most contracts entered into with a minor are unenforceable. So for that reason, it may be appropriate for age to be verified before a member of the public can be admitted to participate. Price and value promotions. A price promotion could be money off or free extra volume or value. The promotion must be a genuine price reduction or increase in volume that is applied for a particular period of time. Your business must say when the offer ends and that is subject to availability. You should ensure that you estimate demand for the offer as accurately as possible. The promotion must always be clear and not misleading. The comparison with the regular price or amount must be clearly marked and should not be ambiguous. For example, the consumer getting 10% more volume or the same volume for 10% less cost. The goods must be the same quality and size as normally priced goods. Obviously, it sounds very obvious, but these are the legal requirements. Not promote reliance on gaming and prize draws as means of relieving a person's financial or personal difficulties, nor to encourage consumers to participate excessively or beyond their means. Not state or imply that a player's skill can influence the outcome of a game unless that is correct. Not exaggerate the connection between the gaming activity and the use of which the profits may be put to. Not mislead or deceive consumers, abuse the trust or exploit the lack of knowledge of consumers. Exploit the superstition or without justifiable reason play on fear. This means that winning claims should be factual and able to be proven, and the chances of winning or the size of the prize should not be exaggerated. Respect the principles of free and fair competition between businesses. With price comparisons and sales, if your business is comparing the price of your previous or usual price, including for volume promotions, then the previous price should have been the most recent price available for 28 consecutive days or more, and comparisons should not be made with prices that were last offered more than 6 months ago. Your prices can then reduce the sale price further if you wish, as long as you mention the interim price. Previously it was this price, now it's this price. You must be able to show proof of all prices used in comparison exercises. So if you're saying that it's 50% off, it must have been available up to 6 months previously for 28 consecutive days. So your business should not suggest the sale is for a shorter period of time than you intend. However, you can extend the sale period if you clearly announce it as an extension. Now, I have seen this is where we've had closing down sales, and it's not actually saying that it's longer than stated, but if something is closing down, obviously we assume it's within, I don't know, a month or 2 months. But to have that go on for a year, I think is sort of a bit exaggerated. But if there's no specific date, then maybe it's not breaking the law. So notice saying, for example, up to 50% off. Well, they must be the maximum reduction applies to at least 10% of those products on offer. Free products, for example, buy one, get one free, bug off. And coupons, free products must be that, free. The offer is not free if your business has increased the price of any product the consumer must also buy or added other charges beyond unavoidable costs, such as the true cost of freight. In other words, you can't claim it's free and then suddenly the shipping cost is 3 times the price. If you're issuing coupons to be redeemed against a particular product, ensure the retailer only accepts the coupons against that product. Never describe a gift, that is something offered at all or most participants, as a prize. Introductory offer price. The offer must be limited in time and the product under promotion must be available after the promotion is ended at the same outlet but at the higher price. Remember that claiming an offer is limited when it isn't is a criminal offence. Trade promotions is any promotion or incentive offered to your employees must not conflict with the interests of your business or compromise the employee's ability to give honest advice to the consumer. Now, I've mentioned this before with financial services. It's to avoid the salespeople giving wrong advice to someone to purchase a particular financial product that is only in the interest of the salesperson because they're getting more commission on it. Right, some EU rules on sales promotion. So these are a little bit more recent. Sales promotion to be harmonised in the EU. The Commission adopted a communication and a proposal for regulation on sales proposal as part of its drive to modernise consumer policy. The regulation abolishes national restrictions on a series of sales promotion practices and aims to harmonise legislation in the EU on the protection of consumers, minors and public health. So previously, sales promotions were regulated on the national level with great variations from one member state to another, and obviously, therefore, very confusing, especially now we are working in the EU and working within the 28 member states, that all these were different in every member state. So the regulations now abolishes a number of outdated national restrictions, which can be still found in some member states. So a ban on sales below cost. Previously, if it was sold below cost, this might be used to get rid of excess stock or out-of-date stock. A ban on free samples and certain forms of premiums. Maximum limit on bans or sales discount, e.g. the 33% limit in Belgium, and making certain services subject to purchases of a product. It introduces measures for the protection of consumers, such as specific labelling and information requirements. So examples, advertising gifts and presents are allowed on the condition that their value is clearly mentioned. So we can give a free gift of maybe a speaker with a recommended retail price of $9.99 or something. And realistic estimates of the chances of winning. Advertisers must be present, must be indicated. In other words, it must show what the possibilities are if they really can have the opportunity of winning. Include a series of provisions designed to protect minors and public health. So a promoter, when making a sales promotion, could not collect personal data from a child without the verifiable prior consent from that child's legal guardian. And promoters would be prohibited from providing a free gift consisting of an alcoholic beverage to individuals under the age of 18. Seems logical, but if you consider, certainly in countries like France, where youngsters as young as 12 have been brought up drinking wine, then obviously this is something different for them. It also introduced a number of information requirements intended for the consumer. So it foresees making all remaining national restrictions subject to the principle of mutual recognition. If a service or sales promotion is declared legal in one member state, it can also be offered in other member states without additional legalizing requirements in each of those states. Now, a lot of contests now being done with various sites on the internet, Facebook being one of the major ones for this, certainly for advertising. So we're going to go through some of the details of if you're doing a contest with Facebook. So is your Facebook contest legal? There's a lot of people who are doing this thing, so there's certain guidelines that they have. So are you familiar with Facebook's promotion guidelines? While most things are an open game, some things you cannot do include things like gate your apps, tag people in a brand's image in order to enter, or require your fans to share your page on their timeline in order to enter. So let's have a look that if you're going to be doing a contest done through Facebook, to make sure it's legal and following the promotional guidelines of them. Right, recommendations and a template for what to include in your own contest rules document. You can host promotions on a custom Facebook app. You can host promotions on your page's timeline. You can't host promotions on a personal profile. You can ask people to like or post to enter. You can ask people to comment on a post. You can ask people to post on a page. You can ask people to message a page. You can ask people to like a page to get access to a contest entry form. And yes, you can ask people to submit suggestions on a new product in exchange for a chance of winning. And you can ask people to like as a voting requirement. No, you can't require people to share a page to enter. You can't require people to like a page to automatically enter. You can't require people to like a different page to enter other than the page that you're on. No, you can't require people to tag themselves in pictures of a new product in exchange for a chance to win a prize. And no, you can't share a contest on a friend's timeline to automatically receive additional entries. So Facebook promotions must include your promotion's official rules. They must include terms and eligibility for your promotion, and they must include acknowledgements of a promotion is in no way sponsored, endorsed, or in any way by any association with Facebook. So Facebook promotion must include a notification that Facebook cannot be held liable for anything related to your promotion. It must make sure your contest complies with laws in your region, in other words, whichever member state that you're in, or if you're in the EU. It is legal to contact your promotions winner by posting a status update. It's legal to contact your promotions winner by making a comment in the comment section. It's legal to contact your promotions winner by sending an email to the address. It's legal to contact your promotion winner via email. It's legal to contact your promotion winner by an announcement on your blog or website. So since Facebook changes its terms and services with, well, quite a lot of, quite frequently, it can be difficult to know what is and isn't legal when it comes to promotions, such as contests or sweepstakes. So the most up-to-date one that we have here, you can host promotions here on a custom Facebook page, app campaign on your page's timeline. You can't host on a personal website. Yes, you can ask people to like a post to enter, comment on a post on a page, message a page to enter, like a page to get access to an entry form, submit names for a new product in exchange for a chance to win, and like as a voting mechanism. No, you can't require people to share a page to enter, like a page to automatically enter, like a different page to enter, like multiple pages to enter, tag themselves in picture, or share a contest on a friend's timeline. So those kind of things. So there we go. Enter our shoe giveaway, contest like to post to enter. So we've got some exact examples of what you can say and what you can't. Want some new kicks? Share this page to enter to win a pair. Can't do that. We're giving away free t-shirts to the first 10 people to like our page. Again, not allowed. What goes better with our sneakers than sweet designer socks from Knock Your Socks Off, like their page. In other words, an additional page. Can't do that. So these are specific examples of what you can and can't do. It's worth getting to know this, because otherwise it will either, well, as I say, it will already either get you banned or taken off. It will stop your promotion in its tracks, get taken off, could result in you getting thrown off Facebook, and certainly give you bad publicity. So you can ask your friends to like or share your page for access to an entry form, but liking and sharing cannot be the only means of entry. You may also offer a referral link in a share as a means to receive additional entries, but they cannot be awarded automatically simply for sharing. So Facebook promotions must include your promotion's official rules, terms and eligibility for the promotion, acknowledgement that promotion in no way sponsored, endorsed, administered, or associated with Facebook, notifications that Facebook can't be held liable for anything related to the promotion. So you must make sure your contest complies with the laws in your particular area, wherever you're based. These are the legal ways to contact the winners: post a status update, make a comment in a comment stream on your page, send an email to the address, send a tweet, or make an announcement on your blog or website. And now Pinterest. Now, Pinterest, curiously, of the three platforms, Pinterest has the fewest rules. In fact, there doesn't seem to have any content-specific rules at all. Instead, your contest must stick to Pinterest general rules. This means pins and boards are part of a contest must credit their sources. Users must be authentic and respectful. Twitter's guidelines of running contests are fairly simple, though they include the following: following the Twitter rules, which means avoiding spam, complying with guidelines relating to trademarks, copyright, privacy, discouraging your followers creating more accounts solely for the purpose of winning the contest, and discouraging from sending the same tweet multiple times. And that is all we have for you on the requirements. But it does show, I think, just before we sign off, the idea of what we've been looking at. Not only is you have the legal requirements within the countries that you're working in, but additionally any other platforms that you're using and the particular types of promotion. You have to check all of these out, not only what it is you're doing, but where it is that you're posting them, and that you follow the rules of all the particular regions, areas, and platforms that you are using. So by all means, do the promotions, but at least check out the legalities of them beforehand, before you do that. Right, I shall see you next time for the next chapter. So that will be probably in 1 week's time. In the meantime, as you know, I'm available for the conversations. I will be sending questions in from time to time. So look forward to getting some full and complete answers from you. I'll be asking, obviously, relevant to the information that we've given here, and just for either some ideas and opinions that you've had, depending on what you've either seen, what your experience has been with these kind of promotions. So please answer the questions as fully as possible. Thank you.